So which one is going to be staying home and not playing is going to be the question.
Hmm.
There's one that's going to be staying home but playing. All right, then we are going to be loading in onto Oxide LE. We be breathing. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map. We have the purple Terran player, arguably a bit of a dark horse as far as the Australian players go, but I would never, ever underestimate Azure, especially not when he's looking like fire, absolute fire. He is coming out from the land of Brisbane, representing Legacy Esports. We have Azure.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Australian Zerg player, the best Zerg player in all of Australia, representing Downfall Gaming. It is Oreo.
And is this going to be the mech game? So you got to be looking out for Azure. Definitely. I mean, we kind of tease it a little bit that he is going to whip it out, but if I had to describe Azure in one word, it would be versatile. Azure is, Azure is a player, at least in this particular region, who we know will always do something different every game.
Yeah, to me, I always compare him to milk. Not the drink, but we have a teammate, Milk and Cookies, and he's kind of known for being very diverse with his builds. He has a lot of variety. He can cheese, he can play mech, he can play bio, he can go for these big 2-base pushes, just like Azure. Azure, he very much so, he can do so much, not just in TvZ, but also in TvP, and I feel like that's probably one of his greatest strengths.
Absolutely is. That's why my eyes are usually more on Azure than on the other Terran players.
Yeah, definitely. Someone like C2 is a little more standard, is a lot more, I don't want to say predictable. I feel like that's more of a negative connotation, but again.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
I would say C2 definitely isn't predictable, especially if you're his opponent, you always want to be scouting him, making sure he doesn't bamboozle you and whatnot. Because he can do that every now and then, but his approach to the game is pretty consistent.
Yes, that's probably the better word to use. It is very consistent with his play, and we'll see. As you said, like, you know, our eyes are on Azure. What is his opening going to be? Is he going to go for like a third CC before Starport? Is he going to go for a 1-1-1? If he does go for a 1-1-1, which he is going for, like, what's he going to come out of it? Like, are we going to see BCs, Banshees, Ravens?
It is going to be the build that I always go for, or potentially not.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, it could be a lib.
He is getting active Hellions out. Yeah, could be a lib. He could be swapping the add-on to the barracks, trying to get either Banshees or potentially Ravens. We have seen Hut do that in the past, going for Hellion Raven. That's a clear creep, and also to clear drones more effectively. This Reaper somehow going to be making it out alive.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that was so close. Azure getting a little bit risky with that Reaper, but it did end up escaping, getting out just in time, able to deny one of these creep trimmers as well. And he's going for it. He's going for the lib.
Yeah, always a bit of a morale boost if you're able to take out the creep tumor that early on, and this is the build that I like to do, like. And also C.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Always you want to be getting those Hellions out, harassing the Zerg player. If you see an opening, you can jump into the mineral line with it. But meanwhile, the Liberator, that's going to be the heavy hitter.
Ooh.
That's going to go behind enemy lines. And these Hellions do find a bit of an opening. Getting a couple of these drones already. Not quite going to be able to kill them, as these Lings will have something to say about that. But already 7 drones going down just like that. And the Liberator has not even come into play.
Exactly. The Azure, he found an opening in the defenses of Oreo. He dove in and got 7 drones. I mean, it's possible that he could have gotten a couple more, but he committed into the mineral line. And as you said, the Liberator is still on the way as well.
Yes, they're going to get quite a bit of damage. Now, it is a little bit less effective when you have a Liberator on its own compared to when you're distracting the Zerg player with the Hellions out. But honestly, he already got 7 drones. It's already some pretty good damage.
Yeah, definitely. The damage has been done. Anything else with the Liberator is a bit of a bonus. As again, like very many times you don't get that much damage done with the Hellions. Like you poke and prod, but there's always Lings and Queens ready to defend. But a map like this, a map like Oxide, it's a little bit harder to defend your third and your natural at the same time. It's a little bit more open, if you will. And yeah, Oreo getting this third base location over here to the north, I'm a little bit surprised, as in the past we've seen him expand over to the right-hand side instead.
Yeah, that is, I would argue, the more defensible position. Definitely the better position if you're wanting to play a longer macro game out, which made me think that Oreo was going to go into something more aggressive, but not quite the case. He's going into Mutiling Bane now, but this is about the standard timing, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, the Liberator, it's back, and it finally sieges up, looking to get some damage, gets a single drone, and oh, this is so good. Like, he's denying mining from both of these gases, and the gas is so important, especially when your opponent is going for mutas.
It definitely is. And yeah, with that, I'm not sure how much more we can really emphasize how important it is to get gas when you're going for mutas. Oreo has a decent bank, but still only able to produce 5 of these Mutalisks. I mean, it can do some harassment across the map, but now Azure, he sees the Spire, should be getting prepared.
Yeah, he does see the Spire, he confirms it. I would imagine we're going to see some missile turrets quite soon. I'm a little bit concerned because he hasn't started any of them.
He does have double engineering bay. Yeah, not getting any of those turrets, and it looks like he's going to be building up into a push, a pretty strong 1-1 timing, but if Oreo just moves across the map with his Mutalisk, oh, never mind. Marines are all you need. Catch them in out of position.
Yeah, definitely. And Bailing Speed is not done yet. Oreo, he rushed to get those mutas out, so he does have them available to him, but again, they're not going to help too much against all this bio.
Yeah, not at all. The Lingbane is really going to be the heavy hitters here, and even then, I mean, we just saw in the previous game how well Azure can split against that. Will get the kill, not to cancel on that base.
Yeah, that was huge. A kill on the 4th base. That was a big loss from Oreo already. And now, like, he's just trying to buy time, waiting for Bailing Speed to finish up.
Yeah, and I will say that it may work out decently well for him. You know, Azure, he is moving reinforcements in. He's got 3 tanks, but he is spending a lot of stims and not quite getting much on them. These Medivacs run out of energy. This bio army just has a lot less staying power. He may not need to stay for long.
Exactly, as again the Marines come in, they get another Queen there, denying the 4th base, but Oreo, he's given up this position. He's expanding over to the left-hand side, which is quite nice, but again, he still needs to deal with this army, but he has waited long enough where Oreo, he now has Bailing Speed.
That he does. And
oh, he unsieges.
Oh, yeah, Bailing Speed right now, and this is just about the worst time to unsiege. But the splits have been looking really fantastic coming out from Azure to be able to keep a good amount of his bio alive. All of the Banelings get sniped out. And this is still a scary amount of Lings, but honestly, if Azure can start a step like so, if he can get into a good position, he should be able to contest this at the very least.
Oh, that he does, but everything is going to be cleaned up. Never mind, the Marines are actually trading so well, almost kill all the Lings.
1-1 has kicked in. And finally, Azure is going to hot pick up right on out of there.
Uh-oh.
And honestly, I want to say that Azure is favored from that engagement, but I'm not sure what he's going to do with that.
Yeah, like I like these reinforcements, but one thing that's missing here are the tanks. It's just pure Marine. So it feels like this force is lacking a little bit. So he doesn't want to overstay his welcome. In saying that, Azure is just rallying his reinforcements across the map. Here we go. The tank is finally joining the fray, and there are so many medevacs as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a fully healed bio army. No matter how many stims come across. I do also like that Azure, he realizes, okay, I haven't been able to end the game with that, so I'm going to have to take my defense a lot more seriously. Getting that bunker there, going into his missile turrets that he needs, and interestingly enough, okay, he is getting drilling claws, so he will be transitioning into mines, but I was going to say, interestingly enough, he is going for Tank Thor relatively quickly.
Oh yeah,
but he's
yeah.
not committed to Thors is the thing.
I think what's interesting is that he's going Thors. He's also transitioning into Widowmines as well. Out of tanks, we do have drilling claws on the way. Oh, Oreo losing a couple of mutas for free there as well.
Yeah, not ideal, but not terrible either for our Bluezer player. as he is just continuing to expand. You know, I don't think Azure realized that Oreo has been expanding towards the north. These are a lot of add-ons that are just ripe for the picking.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
9 drilling claws. That would be huge, but the Thor comes in.
Well, the Thor comes in, it should push away the mutas. Meanwhile, the drop does drop into the natural of Oreo, looking to deal some damage here. Nothing quite yet.
Yeah, no, anti-air means that a hot pickup can come in at any point. Only a single queen. And yeah, drones are slowly going down. He is unloading right on top of the spore, though. And yeah, a little unfortunate over there. Azure preoccupied with the mutas back at home. But now finally pushing out once again. Gonna be securing the 4th base as well.
Yeah, Drilling Claws has finished up. He has his Thors to help, you know, reinforce this army. He has to be a little bit careful because we do have Oreo setting up this big run by or even potential surround. But, oh god, there are so many Widow Mines sprinkled in this army.
That there are. The Thor gonna be coming in. And they can already getting surrounded by these Lings. I was gonna say they can soak up a decent amount of damage, but yeah, not from Lings. But does that really matter so much when Azure's main army is fighting so well over here? These Banelings try to bust on through, but the bio is too good for it. Not losing a single mineral to those Banelings.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit concerned. The Banelings are coming in and no decent connections.
Yeah, decent connections, but the mine hits were absolutely beautiful over there. And Azure just not letting up this pressure. You always love to see a Terran player who has his Marauders to soak the splash damage, even sniping out the Banelings here and there. And this is looking like it's going to go pretty far into Azure's favor, but the amount of Lings just able to surround these bio units, able to get some friendly fire as well, has been fan-freaking-tastic. The reinforcements coming in.
Oh my god, these reinforcements may be too much. To be fair, Oreo, he did warp in or morph in a couple more Banelings, so his army can still contend, but the creep, it's been receding. It's been pushed all the way back to the base, to the 4th base of Oreo.
Yeah, this creep has gotten really stressed. Starting to recede more and more.
God damn it, Yaku.
More of that shine on there. And meanwhile, Azure is right on top of his opponent. He has a pretty good split with his bio, but he doesn't quite have the AoE that he needs in position. The Widow Mines are a little far back, but in the end, it doesn't quite matter. The Marauders soak up so much of splash damage from the Banelings, and the Thors really going to town on the Mutalisks.
Exactly, it's just too much damage. Oreo, he's forced to evacuate his 4th base, gives up the hatchery, and I mean, he's trying to expand all the way to the right-hand side so he can, you know, main art all of his drones, but the main army, there's just nothing to stop it. There's no Banelings.
No, there is not, and I mean, you do say that Lings are pretty good against Marauders, but not when you have that many. GG is called, and Azure gonna be taking game number 1 of this best-of-3 Capri Sun match. That's before the qualifying match.
GG, and honestly, like, having a look at Oxide, especially when the rocks go down, it feels like the rush distance isn't too far.
Yeah, honestly, you mentioned something earlier on, which was that the bases are kind of exposed, kind of in the open, and they are, but on top of that, they're also pretty choky. There are a lot of choke points to those bases, which instinctually makes me say that this map may be more Terran favored, but yeah, what I gotta say is it's gonna be hard to defend those bases, especially if your opponent is gonna be leaning towards a style that's, you know, gonna favor fighting in choke points a lot more.
Yeah. It felt like the rally of Azure, especially because he expanded towards his opponents where his 3rd base was. It felt like he didn't have too much, like, area to traverse to, like, get to the other side of the map. And yeah, like, in the end, Oreo was kind of suffocated. He just couldn't keep up with the constant rally of Marines, Medevacs, Widow Mines as well.
Oh yeah. Way too much damage being thrown there, and chat is now reminding me that's even without 2-2 upgrades. I'm sure was only getting it towards the very end of that game. But that's what happens when you can position your bio and you have the right amount of Thors, and you know, you just build into an army that is almost a perfect counter. I think there will be some who argue that maybe it's not as efficient as something like, say, Marine Mine, for example, or Marine Marauder Mine, but you know what? It's good enough for me. It's good enough for sure. And speaking of which, we are now going to be loading in onto Pillars of Gold. LE no longer holding up the Golden Wall nor the Eternal Empire, but the LE Submarines is somewhere around. In the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have the purple Terran player coming out from the land of Brisbane. He is one of those Brisbane boys. He is representing that Gold Coast. He wants to carry that torch into the qualifying match. Representing Legacy Esports, we have Azure. Hi.
And spawning in at the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold, LE. Oh my, going for a gas pool first. We have the Australian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, the best Zerg player in all of the land of Australia. We have representing Downfall Gaming, it is Oreo.
And I completely forgot to answer Revenant's question over there. But yeah, just to answer it off, I believe the top 3 players from the main event last season, that being Probe, Seether, and Miomaika, were directly seeded into the main event. Meanwhile, the 5 top players after that were directly seeded into ANZ champs. So that will be Risky, Demi, T-Bull, Ender, and Piglet.
Yep. Those are all of them. They haven't been publicly announced. If you are in the ANZ Champs Discord server, well, I mean, it's not big. It's they will be announcing it like officially once the qualifiers finish. Like all the players that are going to be in ANZ Champs. But yeah, for the most part, it is known who they are. And
yeah, I mean, just guessing based on how they seeded it last season.
Yeah.
I love they made a massive change in how they decided to structure the tournament.
And also based on the players who didn't show up for the qualifiers that you would expect to see. So yeah,
I mean, Piglet did show up, and then he was told that he couldn't play because he was already seeded.
Exactly. And yeah, we'll see what we have, and here we go. This is why Oreo went for a faster gas and a faster pool. It is because we've got a Roach Warren on the way.
That we do. Now, we have seen Azure's defense against the Roach Rush in his series against Nux, but yeah, let's see how well in facing against Oreo, if Oreo will, put a little bit of his own spin on things.
Yeah, and oh my god, the Reaper gets in, and the Reaper scouts the Roach Warren as well.
And just a little bit of an owie coming out.
Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Oreo can decide, haha, I'm just gonna fake you out, but he is producing 6 roaches out right now. And meanwhile, back at base, the tech lab is already out.
Exactly. So important to note that this is not the same build that Nux went for. Nux, he went for a faster Roach Warren, but he also droned up. He also got a 3rd hatchery as he was pushing out Oreo. He has not made a single drone. He has 17 workers, and that's it. That's all he's got.
That he very much so does. He is really ahead in terms of the army count. But how much can that last? Did Azure skip the tank, or has he already got one? He skipped the tank. He's going straight into the Cyclone because he wants to prevent any high ground vision.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because a tank is very vulnerable to Ravagers and Corrosive Biles, but there's only one, and the Riches are here.
That they are, and the bunker is doing a really good job, to be fair. The SCV is also here to repair it, but is it quite enough? The Lings are definitely a bit of a worrying factor right now. And I mean, the SCVs are starting to go down one by one. So it's somewhat decent Marine count, and man, I do think that it really does come down quite a bit to the lack of the tank. I feel like Azure, he was preparing for something that just was not going to come out.
Exactly. It was a very interesting.
Be a lot more Ravagers.
Yeah, a very interesting decision that the Cyclone was prioritized over the tank, and because of that, without the tank seized up on the high ground, he can't hold on to his natural.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I just feel like Azure was like really worried that there's going to be an Overlord somewhere for high ground vision, and granted, there is, but he's not quite going to be able to take advantage of that yet.
Oh, and it's so important that that Ravager was able to... Yeah, that's it.
There we have it. One phone, that's my finger. And with that, we are going to be closing things off with a TVP as our final qualifying match. Azure going to be the one to hold up the torch of the Gold Coast. Oreo, I mean, you got to feel for him a little, you know? He didn't manage to make it last season. He got so close this time as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I was about to point out that it was so important that towards the end there, Azure, he actually focus fired and killed one of the Ravagers before Oreo got high ground vision. And because of that, only 2 Ravager piles went down on that tank. You need 3 to kill it. And as soon as that happens, like everything just fell apart.
On the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he realized there's not much more I can do to really break this. And on top of that, I haven't been droning up behind this. I haven't gotten my base. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But, hopefully he can, sort of take this break and sort of relax his wrist. I know that he does eat that quite a bit. Keep it all in tip-top position, just like bread. Definitely,
like Oreo, he's a great player. He has so much potential as well. Like he has done so well for himself in the little time that he's been in the StarCraft 2 scene. A lot of old school players may not be familiar with who Oreo is, but he only started competing really in the beginning of 2019. That's when he hit GM. He kind of made a name for himself in OzCraft as well, and yeah, he's just been on the rise, but at the same time he's also focusing on studies, and he also has gotten a lot of wrist issues as well, which have
next probe.
He could have been, but yeah, it's I don't know,
studying and competing and also winning. Just nodding along there, and yeah, we should be a little while longer as Azure just asking for a little bit of sustenance or a break to get some sustenance.
Yeah, so like again, Oreo, he is knocked out. That was it. That's his run. That was the final chance that he had to make it into ANZ champs. Again, this is the final qualifier, the final one of the year as well as DreamHack Winter. This is it for 2020. At least when it comes to DreamHacks, we'll see if in December maybe there's another event that gets run. But it's not looking likely. Maybe another like Kubo sort of thing starts up, but it looks like this is probably going to be like the last hurrah, at least for 2020, when it comes to these big events.
We're in the middle of October already, like.
Yeah, we are.
How did that happen? I blinked and it wasn't June anymore.
I blinked and I thought it was still March, man. I don't know, it feels like it's just blown by, right? 2020. It feels like we only just recently started like casting ESL Dare, and then that finished up after 20 events, and yeah, I don't know where time has gone, man. He's still in China.
Well, he had to, yeah, exactly. He had to leave Korea.
Yeah, he left Korea.
His visa ran out.
F's in the chat.
F. But at least he's close to the gym now.
He is. But yeah, this is going to be it for Oreo. Hopefully we see his return in 2021. Again, as a reminder, ESL Pro Tour is confirmed for the next 3 years, for 2020, 2021, and 2022 at least. It's kind of on us. It's on the community to really like show our support and show to ESL that, hey, like StarCraft is worth keeping for even longer than that.
Exactly.